Hey, what's going on, guys? So today's video is going to be how to sharpen or maintain a nice sharp edge on your punch cutters or round blades. This is a cigar punch cutter, okay, specifically a Colibri. I've actually had a lot of compliments on this over the years. It's super smooth. I love this mechanism. It kind of sucks in at the very end, pops back in. I've used this for years now. And what a punch cutter does is just what you might assume. It makes a little plug cut. Okay, so it's a circular blade. It's literally a full circle, okay, that sharpens on the very edge. And for the case of a cigar, you would put pressure forward and twist, and it would cut in. And when you pull out, it takes a little plug of tobacco out, okay? That's to cut the cap of a cigar so that you can smoke it. That's the purpose of this specific tool. But I'm sure there are, different similar size blades that are just circular for all different purposes. So today I just want to talk briefly on how to sharpen this or maintain it. Now, the key to this is not to have to sharpen it at all. Just like knives, I much prefer using strops to maintain an already sharp edge as opposed to letting it get so dull that you need to sharpen it. If you actually need to sharpen this, 99 out of 100 times, you're going to be much better off just buying a new one, okay? Most punch cutters are pretty inexpensive. You can get super cheap ones. I mean, I've seen ones that are $1, okay? All the way up to maybe more fancy ones are like $20 or $30. So this is just representing any old strop with compound on here. Just have some white compound. This is a pocket strop, but you can use obviously anything. And then more specifically in the back here, I have one of my favorite strops. I got this from a viewer who I talked to on Instagram. Very nice guy. And he gifted this to me. This is a horsehide strop, and I don't use any paste on this, okay? The horsehide is just a lot tougher, and it really does something special. For all you guys out there who do stropping and you're super into sharpening and stuff, definitely do some research and look into horsehide. Really amazing stuff. But this is representing a strop or a piece of leather that has no compound on it, okay? Just a leather. That's like next level. Once you use the compounds, this is like the super fine. So if it's getting to where it's almost dull, where it's kind of struggling to cut a little bit, I would definitely do a strop with a compound. What type of compound, that's up to you. The different colors represent different grits. Some are finer than others. It's just one of those things. But more times than not, I wouldn't even bother with this. I would just use bare leather, okay? It's gonna be available to most people. Most people out there have a belt or know someone who has a belt that's raw leather, all right? So that's probably gonna be the easiest. Now in this particular case, it's a little bit hard to access the top of that in this specific design, so I'm gonna just unscrew this just to get down to where I have a lower angle. You might not have to do this. It just depends on whatever punch cutter you have. This one has a little spring mechanism and a collar. So I'm basically taking it apart to expose more of the tube. Now this is a very simple process. Actually, I'm gonna zoom in. I think we get a better idea that way. Now this is a circular blade. What you wanna do is your same stropping method where you have it on an angle here, okay? Because I don't know if you could tell, but towards the tip here, how this is cut, it's just very lightly angled, right at the very edge. You might be able to see that line there, and it just continues all the way around in a circle. Okay, so you wanna kind of match that angle a little bit and just drag away, like you're stropping. Now, what I'm doing different though, is as I'm pulling away, I'm also rotating it. Okay, so every time I pull away, I'm turning it just a tiny bit. So I'm going around and around, obviously getting the entire edge. Okay, so pull away and turn, away and turn, away and turn. And you can continue to do that, and it's going to maintain a very razor's edge. Just happens to be a circular pattern, but you're treating it like any other knife blade. Now, in the case that it's so dull you have to sharpen it, again, my suggestion is just buying a new one. But if it has some kind of sentimental value or something, you can use a tapered stone. This was one, I just did a previous video on this. This happened to break, but this is representing a tapered stone. You would come in on the inside here, okay? And you would sharpen the inside appropriately, okay? Back and forth, all around the edge until you created somewhat of a sharp edge, and then you would go back to the stropping method. All right, so pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And again, I mean, these little punch cutters, they've been a favorite of mine for many years. When I first got into cigars, all I did was a punch cut because I always had cheaper, guillotine cutters and all different styles. Never liked any of them. And eventually I ended up getting a Cuban Crafter's Perfecto cutter, which I use for all my cigars. I just happen to love that, but maybe once in a blue moon, I'll kind of revisit this. Actually, what sparked this idea was my buddy Corey, who I talk to all the time on Instagram. He just got into using a punch cutter on cigars, and I said, you know what, I should do a video talking about how to maintain it and sharpen them. But again, the idea with all blades is to not have to sharpen them. After, I don't know, a handful of uses, could be once a month, could be once a year. Doesn't really matter, it depends on how much you smoke. After a few cigars, if you just take some leather and just do this simple stropping method, pull back as you twist, you will maintain that edge so it does not get dull. That's the idea, and the same goes for all blades. If you can keep it sharp, you don't have to sharpen it. Does that make sense? Stropping maintains the edge, sharpening changes it. So hopefully this video was helpful for the people out there who do use punch cutters. And if you don't use a punch cutter, hopefully it was a little educational. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Take care.